welcome to Tiger Talk with Shaq, man. We are here, man. We are back. Man, I'm so excited, man. Hey, listen. Hey, shout out to Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, man. I appreciate being alive, man. Today is March 6th, man, 2022, man. And it's a Sunday. And, man, I'm excited to be here, man. Shout out to everybody. Before we get going, man, listen, if you want to find me on the Meta, man, it's Coach Shaq Bryant. At Twitter, at Instagram. Also, the website is tigertalkwithshaq.me. Further ado, man, we're going to get right into it, man. Hey, we got a lot to talk about today, man. But before we get started, man, listen. DMX died of last year of April the 9th. And I thought, man, since it's Sunday, man, and DMX always did what he did. If you're not familiar with DMX, man, he is a rapper from New York, man. He really was instrumental about changing the game, man. He was instrumental in starting Rough Riders, man. He had plenty of albums, man. He got into some political stuff with his record label, man. He wound up not producing like he should have at the end of his career. He just backed up. But one thing he did on everything, he always acknowledged God. He always ended with a prayer. Sometimes he opened his performances with a prayer. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a prayer since it's Sunday and it's almost a year after he's gone. God rest him. Lord, thank you for this podcast, man. Thank you for allowing us all to wake up. Thank you for allowing us to be able to stream and go to different levels with this podcast. God, we ask that everybody that listens to this podcast, Lord, allow them to be blessed beyond measures, bless their finances, bless their mental status, bless their emotional status, bless their job security, bless everything that is in them, God. Allow them to grow, allow them to have ventures, allow them to have dreams, allow them to be motivated by something that I might say or something that they hear from this podcast. Lord, allow everybody to be covered, allow their families to be safe, allow their kids to grow up well, allow their spouses to be blessed, allow their fathers and their mothers, Lord, to be blessed beyond measure. We thank you and we praise you. Open up their ears to hear, open up their hearts to know, open up their minds to gain information and knowledge, allow them to absorb information like a sponge. And we thank you for everything that you've done. In Jesus' name, amen. Shout out for that, man. You always got to give a big up to the big homie, man. For real, dog. I think we got a good one. And we're going to start it off with motivation because that's where we at right now. So let's go ahead and get that started, man. And we're going to get right back after this commercial break. Motivation for the day. We cannot count on people so much. We got several parts of the motivation, but we're going to start out. We cannot count on people so much. You know, we count on people for everything, every little thing, every little detail. And we put so much faith in what people think, how they feel, how they want us to react. Hey, did you think this looked good? Even when we already know, hey, how do you think this sound? Hey, how do you think that look? Hey, how do you think? What about what you think? What about your dreams, your goals? How do we allow somebody else to make such a large statement on our lives? Well, one is because of insecurities. Two is because of doubt. Three is uncertainty. And it all goes back and it all plays right back to the beginning. Do you have belief in what you're presenting? Do you have belief in what you're doing? Do you have belief in the assignment that was given to you and the prophetic mantle that's on your life and also the destiny that you're assigned and the course that you're supposed to be taking? With this podcast, I have faith in what I'm doing, so I'm doing it like I'm doing it for 1 million people, even though we have not reached 1 million people yet. But that's what it's going to come like. God will never present a dream and have you looking silly in the dream. In order for you to go to the next level, you have to perform like you're at the next level. You have to be acknowledging him like this is the next level. You have to know, and he has to be able to trust you with things at the next level. You know, one thing, man, God says in the Bible, man, if you be faithful over few, he'll make you ruler over many. So that's why I produce so much. That's why I give so much content. That's why I shoot so much out there, because content is king. And I know that if I do a good job staying diligent and doing what I'm supposed to do, man, he's going to bless me beyond measure. And the same with you. Whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, whatever your heart desires, man, you go after that, man. Pray about it. Write it down. The Bible says write a vision and make it plain. Write it down. And also so that he who readeth it, it will not tarry, but it will surely come to pass. Man, although it wavers, it will surely come to pass. That's it. But hey, keep going, man. Keep grinding. But you believe in you believe in the Most High God, and you continue to go exactly the places that you're supposed to go, because that's what God has for you, man. But people can count you out. That's another reason why we can't believe people. Well, that's another reason why we can't depend on people. You have to understand, man. People say, hey, do you trust me? Yeah, I trust you, but I don't trust what could happen to you. You know, the devil uses anybody that he can, man. And you have to know that too. So is God. God uses everybody that allows him to be fluent in his life, or God allows everybody to make a choice. That's a better way to say it. God makes a choice. God allows us to make a choice. Therefore, we're able to say, hey, I'm gonna ride with you, God, and he makes a choice whether he blesses us or not. And that's the thing, man. Don't count on people, because people can start off as great. People can start off with doing well, but everybody has bad days. Everybody wakes up and not wanting to do something, and that could deter your vision or your dream. Because if that person's having a bad day, you run something by them, they're in a bad mood, they won't give you the same information, or won't give you the same feedback that they normally probably would. So you understand that, you get in touch with the higher calling, you get in touch with supernatural presence, and then that will bring everything to you into fruition, man. Also, you can't count you out. Understand that. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter the mistake you made. That does not matter. That was yesterday. That's old news. That's in the past. Whatever you have to do your assignment and do it well. A lot of times, man, we get frustrated. We get stagnated. You know, we forget who we are a lot of times. You got to remind yourself, man, what did I come from? Got to remind yourself, what did I make it out of? Did I make it out of that? Well, I'll make it out of this. This thing that I thought was so big of a deal, did I make it out of this before? Okay, well, I'll make it out of this now. So you have to use yourself as a track record. The problem is we forget. The older we get, man, we forget about what we've done. We forget about what we accomplished. We forget about our resume. That's why when you're going to an employer for a new job, they say, hey, man, give me your resume. That way they can be reminded of who you are. They can be reminded of what you do. They can be reminded, and then they base a judgment off of what they see on that paper and what they see in real life. You have to be at a situation where you are constantly building your resume. Every day is a chance for us to build a new resume. We're getting a job every single day. And if I'm building platforms, if I'm building what I'm supposed to build, if I'm dreaming how I'm supposed to be dreaming, then guess what? My resume going to speak volumes. My work is going to produce more work, and everybody's going to be able to see not only the finished product, but the process involved, man. Shout out. Oh, my buttons. There we go. There we go. There we go. Hey, last thing, man, is that, you know, a lot of people will forget about you. A lot of people will, you know, let you down, man. But one thing about God, man, God will never let you down. If you get a no from God, it's a reason why you got a no. You know, you might think that you deserve a yes, but if God gave you a yes to go ahead and go do what you're supposed to do, maybe it's an accident. Maybe you die that day. Maybe he's keeping you from something. Maybe he doesn't want you to blow up. Maybe he does not want you to be rich, because you might blow that. You might become a drug addict. You might become a homeless person. You might become a person that's evil. You might change your ways. So understand, man, God has our track and our destiny in his back pocket. You know, he doesn't make mistakes, man. And that's what a lot of people, you know, they turn their back on God. Well, why did God let my husband die? Why did God let my family member die? Why did God, you know, make this happen? Why did he allow this to happen? Man, you never know. And everything that you go through, whether it's good or whether it's bad, it has the ability to touch in somebody. If you go through a bad situation, maybe God put you through that so you can be a witness, so you can have a testimony to help somebody through their stuff. See, we don't want to go through anything. And that's another thing, you know, it's not about us, man. Sometimes in life, we got to go through trials and hardships for other people. Maybe you did make a mistake. Maybe you didn't make a mistake. Maybe you just living your life at a regular course, but maybe you'll be able to tell somebody, look, man, I was living my life regular, but then I blew up. Then I went and got this, man. I wanted to gain weight, man. I couldn't gain weight for nothing, but then I got this, man. I wanted to lose weight, but then I got this. You know what I'm saying? That you talking to a person that was 305 pounds, you know, used to get out of breath when I tied my shoes, stuff like that, man. I knew I was going to make weight. I always said I was going to drop weight. And guess what? Started dropping weight. Said I wanted to do a podcast. Started dropping weight and doing a podcast. You know, everything that you want to do in life, you have goals, you have dreams, and it's a platform and a stage to where your preparation will meet your opportunity as long as you keep preparing. If you want to get a job, guess what? Start preparing for that job. If you want to be huge, start preparing to be huge. You want to be a singer, an actress, a model, you can do whatever you want to do, but start preparing for it. Start growing your vision, because faith without works is dead. And if you're not putting anything in the cup, you're not drinking nothing. Nobody just hands anything out to you, man. And look, that was the weight loss segment for the day, because we did talk about weight loss. We did talk about motivation, man. And we're going to go ahead and kick it to something else, man. Listen, last night, man, UFC had a great event, man. It was really good. You know, a lot of people came back and a lot of people weren't there as far as like announcers and things like that. And we're going to get into that. But basically, let's go ahead and start off with that being said. Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier was not there last night. Please keep him in your prayers, because his mother actually just passed away, man. So that was the first time I didn't see the champ in a while. And I call him the champ because if anybody knows about UFC, he used to be the champ for a while. He retired, man, and he went into broadcasting. He went into being an analyst, man. And, you know, it's tough losing a parent, man. You know, just like Kanye West, man, the Donda 2 album, his mother was named Donda. His mother believed in all his dreams, man. But after she passed, man, that's when, you know, he started getting setbacks. That's when he started, you know, having to build on the confidence by itself, because his mother was his main engine that was pushing him. In the same way, man, you know, Daniel Cormier, man, losing your mother, man, your figurehead, your stone, your rock, even though parents get on our nerves sometimes, man, it's tough to deal with that, man. So shout out to him, man. And we hope that he's all right, man. We're praying for you. So, you know, getting into back to something that we did a while ago, a couple series ago, man. The lady, Myrna Munoz, the Ukrainian fighter, the one that said F Putin you be or whatever. And we talked about her before. I said that as soon as she get in the octagon, whoever she has to deal with, they're in trouble. Well, come to find out, her and the person that she was fighting, they weren't good friends. They weren't cool at all. But guess what? They had to meet last night. Now she's coming from Ukraine. Of course, we know Russia and Ukraine, you know, already had a beef. They war in there on the 11th day, you know, and Munoz, she was like, man, whoever I get in there with, I'm going to destroy. Well, come to find out, she didn't like the lady, like I said, and she got in there, man. She handled her business. She knocked her out. And on the show, I told you guys, I was like, whoever fights her is in trouble. And that girl was in trouble. She did her so bad and so dirty, man. It was wild. A Russian fighter named Khabib Nurmagomedov, he wound up winning his fight, you know, and he's a Russian fighter. So, of course, that's going to be tense, man. But after he won his fight, man, he gave a huge shout out. He was like, hey, man, all my people back in Russia, he got the biggest boo of his life, man. That was wow. They were They were like, man, boo, boo. So he was like, look, man, whoever want to fight, we can fight next week. I think he don't want to go home, honestly. But hey, shout off to him, man. Like, just because he's from Russia, man, that don't mean anything, man. You know, he has no say on what Putin does. He has no say on what's going on over there, man. But he wound up winning, man, and he wound up getting his record and his hand raised. So, you know, shout out to him, man. Joe Rogan was back in the building, man. Shout out for Joe. We talk about Joe often on this podcast. I always bring him up for my motivation and things of that nature and talk about, you know, my dreams and my goals and where I want to be with this podcast, man. But shout out to Joe, man. Let's talk about Joe Rogan, man. You know, a lot of excerpts and a lot of clips, man, was actually a little bit overdone. And that's how society is, man. Society will switch on you in a minute because emotions carry all of us. And if we don't have control of our emotions, we'll go right off of what we thought instead of actually what it is. And when Joe was on this podcast, man, I actually, you know, myself actually looked at it a little different when I was just seeing the clips. I mean, anybody can present anything that looks good and people will buy it unless they know. But, you know, Joe's been around African Americans his whole life. You know, even on the show, man, like a lot of that stuff was sent out of context. The only problem that Joe had was saying the N-word in confidence. And I think that, you know, when he said, hey, you know, black people say it all the time, stuff like that, I think that was a culture difference. You know, a lot of times people don't understand, people aren't aware, people don't have culture sensitivity. And I think that's what it was. I don't think it was an issue of racism. I think it was more he was talking about a subject and he was saying, hey, man, people say this word or people do this with this word. And that's what it was, man. But it was blown out of context, man. Shout out to Spotify for sticking to that, man, because at the end of the day, he has a family to feed, man. One mistake should not cost nobody a life. I think that everybody builds people up. You know what I mean? We get behind people like, oh man, President Trump, or, oh man, President Biden, or, oh man, I'm a Republican, or, oh man, I'm a Democrat, oh da 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 da. And then we build these people up, and then when these people make mistakes, instead of supporting them, instead of being behind them, instead of actually trying to find out what's going on or why they made a mistake, then guess what? We write them off, man. We try to execute them, but we're not the executioner nor the judge or the jury. The only person that can give somebody life or take somebody life is God. And hopefully that's when you're supposed to go to heaven. And hopefully I live to be a old man. I told God I want 84 years, man, at least 84 years. And hopefully I get that, man, with good health and all of that. Shout out to God. So it was an interesting fight yesterday, man. One of the most interesting, controversial fights, and people thought that should be the fight of the night, was Mitchell versus Barbosa. Barbosa was ranked 10th. Mitchell was ranked 11th. And when I tell you Mitchell in his ground and pound game destroyed Barbosa, who actually saw a lot more competition than Mitchell did, but he destroyed Barbosa, man. I had the fight 27-30. It could have easily went 30-26. But he won unanimously, man. He ground and pounded dude to sleep. And that was just an awesome fight. The main card, man, the champion, man, he won. Mazgadov, man, I believe that's how you say my man's name. He was the challenger, man, the number 4th rank. And basically, here's the funny thing. So your boy Drake, he takes to Twitter and says how much he spent on the fight. And everybody was laughing, because that was the underdog, but he could have won, you know what I'm saying? But hey, he didn't. And Drake spent $275K betting on him, man. Drake took a huge L yesterday. News, man. News in Atlanta. Check this out, man. A guy was driving yesterday in a Lamborghini, man, on the highway. Now, when people see Lamborghinis, man, they're like, oh my goodness, because a lot of things are sent out there to replicate Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Corvettes, things of that nature, man. All type of sports car they model after. Well, this dude was in a Lamborghini. Now, if you don't know how much a Lamborghini costs, let's start at $300,000 and go up. The man was in a Lamborghini just riding. He had 2 passengers with him. A dude just came up and started shooting, man. He wound up missing the driver, but they all went to the hospital, man. I guess they swerved out of control, man. And so shout out to them, man, for being alive, man. But that dude, hopefully they catch him. It was another bystander that got caught in the crossfire, man. He wound up going to the hospital as well. So we hope everybody's okay in that situation. Another thing, John Battle, man, he wind up getting killed in a car shootout. Excuse me. He went into the convenience store, man, to get some energy drinks. He comes back to his girlfriend and his baby that's in the car. He has words with a little kid, a 14-year-old, man. He was an older guy, I want to say about 24. Don't know what the words were about, but I assume it was something to try to help the dude out or whatever. The 14-year-old comes out. He starts busting, pow, pow, pow. And so basically the dude returns fire back. And so that's all that it is, man. They're trading gunfire in the middle of a gas station. You could blow something up. Other people can be hit. But this 14-year-old started the incident. He wound up getting hit. But the 24-year-old that was coming back to his baby and his girlfriend, he wound up passing away, man, wound up dying. This guy got killed by a little kid. They wind up getting the kid. The kid wind up having to go to the hospital, man. He is being held on $1 million bond. He's being charged with armed robbery, also felony to commit murder. He didn't commit murder. Well, he did commit murder. So felony murder. That's actually what he got charged with. And so we pray for everybody that actually was affected by these crimes, man. The last one, man, we're going back to something that we did earlier in the week, man. The Olaf High School shooting, man. That guy, remember we talked about it earlier, man. He hit the resource officer with a bullet. Also shot the assistant principal. Shout out to those people for protecting them kids, because even though they got shot, they did not die. They wound up going to the hospital getting treatment. But the gentleman that was shooting, he's getting charged with first off, he's getting charged with capital murder. Also, he's getting charged with attempted murder. And then he's also, ironically enough, put on $1 million bond, which means that if he gets 10% from a bail bondsman, he has to come up with $100K. he probably wanted to spend that on a lawyer because don't think this is going to work out too good for him. Now, here we go to the clown of the day, man. The clown of the day, man, is none other than Dr. Dre. Let's talk about this dude, man, when we get back. I'm a clown. I'm a clown. So Dr. Dre is a clown. And let me tell you why he's a clown, man. First off, he sells Beats by Dre, which is not a clown move, but he sells Beats by Dre for $3 billion. Then he goes back and he sues Apple because of something in the agreement, but he winds up losing that case. But it was a $3 billion sale. He wound up making $40 million after that in property, wound up donating $70 million to USC University. USC is the public funded school. And basically he's from California, so he wound up giving back, man. Not only that, he sold Aftermath and Interscope for $35 million. Then he turns around and he makes $60 more million in joint business ventures. But let's talk about why he's the clown of the day. So he had a great performance at the Super Bowl, man. Him, 50, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, man, they killed the halftime show, if you remember, man. Shout out for that, man, because, you know, it's hard to rock that stage. Now, let me tell you why you saw so much hip hop. Actually, Jay-Z is in charge of doing Super Bowl halftime shows now. That's crazy, man. Shout out for that, man. That's a huge move, which nobody's talking about that, man. But shout out to Hova, man. You talking about somebody that they said couldn't rap before. They said he really wasn't a great lyricist and stuff like that. You're right, because he's a mogul. Man, Jay-Z is worth billions upon billions of dollars, man. So shout out to him for putting that together. Now, let's talk about why Dre is the clown of the day, man. Give him something. Now, the reason why he's the clown of the day is because, first off, everybody talks about the great stuff that he does. He's a great producer. He's a great artist. He wound up funding or running with NWA. He wound up going on his own to do Aftermath. He wound up, you know, doing a lot of different things, man. He's a part of the culture, man. But the reason why we're saluting him as the clown of the day is because he has a major abuse problem. You talking about 3 women that he assaulted and assaulted bad. Michell'e has a movie out, and basically it's called Surviving Dre and Suge Knight. Well, in this movie, he punches her in the face, beats her down like a dog, and this is a true story. You know, she actually tells the story from her side or her perspective. But Dre even comes back and he's like, man, yeah, that happened. Yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he wound up beating Michell'e down. He wound up beating her in front of the kid. He wound up shooting at her. He wound up shooting her party up that she threw. He wound up shooting at her in the privacy of their own home, pulling guns on her, saying that he'll kill her, all type of stuff, man. Very abusive. Then on top of that, he winds up going to not Michell'e. He winds up going to a lady named D Barnes. Now, nobody heard about this, but this happened back in 1991. But he has a known track record of the stuff. She was a journalist asking him some stuff, and he didn't like what she was saying. So he wound up punching her in the face, throwing her through a bathroom stall, throwing her down a flight of stairs, and really beating her up. When they asked Dre about the event and what happened, he said, yeah, I did it. Can't take it back. It is what it is. It happened. I got to move on. And it was so nonchalant, man. Like, that's almost like he's accustomed to doing that. Now, you never hear about Dre fighting nobody. Like, Easy wanted to fight him. You know, a lot of people wanted to fight him in Death Row. Suge wanted to fight him. And he never fought them, but he always found a way to hit a woman. And in my book, man, that's non-negotiable nonsense. On top of that, man, he was married to a lady named Nicole Young. He did the exact same thing in all of the cases, man. He wound up punching her in the face, pulling guns on her, shooting at her, all of this stuff, man. She had enough. She wound up leaving, man. So I'm thinking, man, listen, he has a company that he created, like I said, that he sent to Apple. Man, that company is called Beats by Dre. And I'm thinking the reason why he came up with that name, because he's really the one supplying the beats, as in beat downs. Uppercutting women, bro. Like, it was crazy. So the clown of the day is none other than Dr. Dre, man. He needs to get some help, man. And I'm not the judge nor the jury. I just know that it's foul, man, and I'm reporting on it. I'm a clown. I'm a clown. Now, so a couple things that we got to talk about. First off, Kanye on Netflix, man. He has a show called Genius. It's spelled J something something something. It's not spelled with a G like genius is. But check it out, man. It's on his third episode, man. The next episode comes out, I want to say, on Tuesday. Also, Coach Prime comes on Tuesday. Power just released their fifth episode of season 4 with Power Force 4. And so Tommy Egan, man, he's really off the chain, man. He goes through a process where he's making up a deal to fight Serbian guys. And I mean, if you know the Power label, man, or Power agenda, man, it's pretty awesome, man. Actually, 50 Cent is the producer on there. He has an awesome team of writers, man. And every Power has been great except for the one that he starred in with his life. That's actually the Power 3. But other than that, every show that 50 comes out with is a hit, from Power to BMF to anything that he's really going with, man. It's really doing well. So shout out to 50, man. He said he about to leave Stars, man. We reported the other day, but that's not the first time he said that. I think he does that to get money up, or does that to get negotiation contracts, or make them come to the table with something else. A great business mind has to be respected, man. On to other stuff, man. The NFL draft just passed, man. My man from Georgia, big dog, 341 pounds, man. He wound up running a 40 and 4.82, man. That is ridiculous. Them Georgia boys was working this weekend, man. The whole D-line, man, and the whole linebacker core, man, they tested well and positive, man. So shout out for the hometown team, man, and what they've been doing, man. Wrapping up the segment, man. Listen, pray for Dre, man. He is the clown of the day, man. He has beat multiple women and never have been charged with anything. Every time it's gone to court, man, he's settled and paid out. I think that when people do stuff like that, man, they have to own up to that, because it's only going to get worse unless they get treatment. With all the people, man, with the gunshot, with the Lamborghini, man, also the guy that got in a shootout with the 14-year-old, and also the guy that came into the school, man, and the people that were shot, the administrator and the actual security resource officer, man, shout out to them, man. I hope they get a speedy recovery. The Russian fighters, man, hey, make sure you say a prayer for him, man. Khabib, and then also Munoz, man, from Ukraine. Their families are back there, man. Make sure y'all, keep them in your prayers, man. This is a segment show, and we have segments and targets that we have to hit. And I don't like bringing negative news, man, but I do have to inform you of what's going on, man, as controversial stories, the things that you probably don't hear about, and we get our intake and all of that stuff on there. Remember, motivation, man. Don't trust people, trust God, and trust yourself, man. You will never succeed in life if you don't have more in you, or you think about more, or think about yourself more than what other people think about you. You have to be the one to pilot your goals. You have to be the one to put in the work. You have to be the one to grind. You have to be the one to stay committed, man, regardless of anything, man. We are out, man. I appreciate everybody, man. Remember the whole slogan, man. Blood is thicker than water, only in certain cases. You need water to live. You learn that in the basics. Better cherish your aces. And my aces, we ride, man, and I appreciate y'all. God over everything, man, and God for us all. My aces, we stay strapped like shoelaces, man. Let's go.